Hey you guys, my name's Leslie, and today I wanted to talk to you about a new practice that I have been doing for just over 30 days, because today is I'm doing like a 30-day check-in on my Miracle Morning practice. I am on like day 33 now. I wanted to check in and let you know where I am with all this and how this is affecting my life, kind of. I think that this practice is really amazing. I think everyone would get huge benefits from pursuing this practice, and so I really want to encourage more people to consider at least trying it. So the Miracle Morning is 6 practices that are shown to be some of the top self-improvement practices: meditation, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and writing. They are all combined into a 1-hour routine, so you do each one for 10 minutes, and then you're done, and you've done them all for the day. And I started this probably almost 2 months ago. I listened to the audiobook, and I got started, but I had trouble getting up in the morning. For the first couple of weeks, I was hit or miss. I knew it was a good thing to do, but sometimes just knowing something is good for you isn't enough to make you do it. But I really, really wanted to give it a try, and they have a 30-day challenge in there. Like, just do it for 30 days and see how it goes. So I was like, okay, come on, Leslie, you can suck it up and you can do this for 30 days and see how it goes. And then at the end of that, we'll be able to see whether we want to continue or how serious we are about it. So my first 2 weeks were kind of hit or miss. And in fact, some of the things I didn't even do. I think the first 2 or 3 times that I did the Miracle Morning, I skipped the writing part completely, which is funny because I'm trying to write a booklet right now, yet I was being super, super resistant to writing. Even though what I'm writing is tiny, I was still just being super resistant to writing altogether. So my first 2 weeks, I resisted the writing. I wasn't a huge fan of the affirmations. I have heard a lot of people talk about affirmations, and I've heard about them for a long time, but I had never gotten into doing them. I always felt a little silly. So those 2 things I struggled with. Meditation I do on a pretty regular basis anyway, so that was no problem. Visualization is something I was interested in doing more, just hadn't done in a while and not much lately. Reading is something that I love, so I was super excited to get back into reading, and almost felt like, oh, I have an excuse to read now. I have a reason to read. I haven't read much since I had my kids, who are now 8 and 10 years old. So it's been a while since I've done, that's not true, I've read some. Anyway, so my first 2 weeks were hit or miss. And then I got going, and suddenly I wasn't missing anymore. But I still wasn't always loving it. I was sometimes having to force myself to get out of bed. Luckily, the first book I read during the Miracle Morning was Mel Robbins' 5-Second Rule, which actually helped me get out of bed. And I do have a book review on that book if you want to check it out. So I did have to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 myself out of bed for a while in order to get it going. But after about 2 weeks, so there was 2 weeks of hit or miss, and then 2 weeks of consistency, but sort of forced consistency. And then the next 2 weeks after that, I have almost always been out of bed before my alarm, like almost every day. It's like my body finally got it and was like, okay, this is what time we're getting up and this is what we're doing. The other big thing that I did that made things change for me is I started coming outside and doing it outside in the morning, and it's so peaceful and nice, and I love being outdoors. I've always said I was solar powered. And then after that, I just started to love it. I loved the time I was spending outside. I loved that I was doing these things for myself. I loved all the pieces of it even. I started to enjoy the writing. And like I said, I'm trying to write a booklet, and I was really being resistant to writing. So that started to help me get in the flow of writing and writing every day. And the affirmations have started to sort of change my brain a little bit, change the way I'm thinking. I've noticed I don't reach for negative thoughts at all. And if I'm feeling anything negative, I purposely reach for some positive thoughts. Here's how I do the affirmations. I made a board on Pinterest for Miracle Morning, and I pinned a bunch of different affirmations that I liked, and I just go through and read them. I just look at them and read them, and some of them have pretty pictures on them or nice colors or something. It made it more enjoyable for me, and it made it where I didn't have to think about it as much. I wasn't trying to come up with affirmations every day. I wasn't just reading them off of a list, and I have definitely tried to not be just reading them blindly. You know, if I came on one that I really felt good about, I'd read it over and over and over again and really think about it. And I'm usually laying down and looking up at the sky and through this tree. A lot of my pictures that I post on social media around the Miracle Morning actually are pictures of this blue sky with these green leaves in front of it, because that's what I'm looking at every morning when I'm doing a lot of it. So I got to really enjoying the affirmations, and they've definitely changed the way that I'm thinking a little bit. I was already meditating pretty regularly, so I really enjoyed that and had no problem with that. Visualization, I'm getting much stronger with, and that was my problem before. Was sometimes I felt like I wasn't really doing it right. I think a lot of people feel that way with some of the things, but I'm getting stronger and stronger at visualizing, and I'm just focusing on a couple of goals right now that I really want to achieve, the sort of more immediate goals, and I'm visualizing those. For exercise, I'm just doing simple exercise. I'm not a runner, but just a few yoga poses. I do some of Donna Eden's energy routine. And the thing is I had a morning routine before I started all this, but it always felt forced. I would get up and I would feel tired and uninterested, and I would know I wanted to do it and know I would feel better if I did it, but I didn't always do it. I would sometimes jump immediately on my phone and look at some social media, and which was really passive. I was just scrolling. I wasn't actively participating in any kind of community or creating any information for online. I was just being really passive and scrolling, which is kind of hypnotic. And then I would kind of not get my morning routine done, and all it consisted of really was meditation and Donna Eden's energy routine. And I know both of those things are really good for me, but I just wasn't liking it. It felt forced every day. So in the exercise portion, I just started adding. I do like some sit-ups and planks, and then I do some yoga poses and Donna Eden's energy routine, which I know from past experiences, because I have had times where I'm consistently doing it and times where I'm not doing it. And one of the first things that happens whenever I start doing her energy routine is that I laugh more easily and smile more often and just feel in general happier. So I have noticed those changes coming since I've been doing the Miracle Morning. Reading I love, so that was never a problem, and the biggest problem is just that I don't know what to read first. I want to read all the books all at once. And what I've noticed though too is that I'm finding a lot more time to read. Now that I'm reading, I am finding other little pockets to read, but I know if nothing else, 10 minutes a day, I can finish a book in 10 minutes a day. So it kind of makes me sad that all these years when I had kids, I thought I didn't have time to read because I'm like, oh, I totally had time to read. I could definitely have thrown in just a few minutes a day for reading. And I've read a bit, and I've read lots of children's books, but just not as much reading for myself as I like to do. And then of course writing I'm getting a lot out of, because I'm trying to write a booklet and was being really resistant to it, and am now finishing it up. I feel pretty confident that I'll be finished with it really soon, because it's not a great big huge long book. It's not an epic, it's just a booklet. But the point was just getting into the habit of writing, which I have now done. So 30 days in, I love my mornings. I spend more time outside now because of coming outside in the morning to do it than I used to all day. I spend more time outside now just in the mornings than I used to all day. And that's something I really value and want in my life, is lots of time outside. That's part of the reason that we moved into an RV to travel, was so we would have more time outside, out in nature. I love being outside, so doing this routine outside in the morning makes me enjoy it that much more. I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. If I find days where I don't feel like I have the time to do a full hour routine in the morning, then I go ahead and drop it back to whatever level I think is reasonable for the amount of time I have that morning. So I've had a few days where we were getting up and out of here early in the morning, and I've just done 5 minutes on each of the items instead of 10. So that makes it a half an hour instead of a full hour. But I really felt like the consistency of doing it every day was the important part, even if I did it shorter than the hour. It's just keeping up with it. A lot of times, consistency is like the key to everything. If you get out of the habit of something, then it's hard to start it up again. Where if you keep the habit of it, even if it's not to the extent you want it to be, it's easier to continue with it. So I'm loving my miracle mornings. I'm totally going to continue this on. I'm actually really excited to see where this takes me in another 30 days and another 30 after that. I'm having lots of new ideas and getting a lot more done in my life in general. So I highly recommend starting Miracle Morning, and I would love to hear if this is something you're doing, if this is something that you're interested in doing. I'd love to hear about it. And I'm starting to talk about it on my other social media accounts a lot, on Facebook and Instagram. So come and join me there, and we can chat about it there too. If you got value out of this video, please hit the like button so that I know you like this kind of video. If you think your friends would like it, please share it with them so that we can share the love and spread this kind of thing further. And of course, subscribe for more like this. I post regular videos on Wednesdays about minimalism and natural living. I'll see you in the next one. Sometimes I can't talk on camera.